Flavour.
This is Cambridge Radio.
I'm going to read you the menu. It's fantastic.
So we get better flavour because of the fen soil.
I've drunk more beer since I came here and bought my 2 barrels than I've ever done in my life before, I think.
I shouldn't have said almonds. They don't make it from almonds.
So you've got this big sticky mess when you start off.
Pizza, pots, pints.
My wife's cakes are excelling at hot cakes. Brilliant, thank you.
The time is right for this sort of thing.
Food is everything.
Cambridge is right for this sort of thing.
What's it like? Delicious.
Good afternoon and welcome to Flavour, with lots of local food and drink news and stories. I'm Matt Bentman in the studio with Alan Alder and Sue Bailey, and I hope you've enjoyed some good food and drink recently.
Oh, well, I had some fantastic fresh tuna from Ben, whose fish van is in Grantchester Street every Saturday morning, and I marinated it with some Dijon mustard, garlic and brandy, and it was fantastic.
And I've had some superb food at the Rupert Brook in Grantchester and from the Burleigh Arms in Newmarket Road, both of which feature in today's programme.
And also on today's show, I've been talking with Paulina, whose Chilean bakery has been nominated in the Best Producer category for this year's Velvet Magazine Awards.
And as usual, we'll have our regular features, free food in Cambridge, local food and drink news, including some very exciting news from the foraging chef, social media updates, and at the end of the programme, our jobs roundup.
But first, my trip to the Burleigh Arms, which was superb. I spoke to their new chef, Sam Sturman, about his very impressive background and about their food.
The Burleigh Arms is one of these places that actually is really rather stunning. It's got the most amazing dining room. It's got a lovely area at the back. But most importantly, what it's got is a new head chef, Sam Sturman. And Sam's got a really interesting background for the places he's worked and the aims that he's set himself. Please tell me a little bit more about how you got started in the food world, Sam.
When I was 17, I left college, completed my level 3, and then went to Midsummer House in Cambridge. I was there for a bit of time. That was probably my toughest job so far, because obviously I was 17 years old, straight into a 2-Michelin-star kitchen. And then done that for a bit, and then moved to London, because everyone says, if you want to be a chef properly, head yourself to London. So I went to work at Paulina Street Social in Mayfair, 1 Michelin star there, and that's like a much higher quantity of customers every single day. So I was there for about 2 and a bit years, and then I moved to the other side of the country, Newcastle, worked at a restaurant, Ruby Hunt there, so a 2-star there. And they offer like a 26, 28 course tasting menu, and it's completely global inspired cooking. So that's kind of where my main style of food is now, to balance classic French dishes with Mexican dishes, with that sort of style of food, with Asian cookery, whereas there's not a set style, but it's lots of different ideas and techniques, and all about the produce is the main thing, really. And then after that, I took my first senior role as a senior sous chef at Morstan Hall in Norwich under Galton when he was there.
I was lucky enough to participate in samples which you provided a number of us with elements, if you like, it was like a mini tasting menu, but also the dishes that you've currently got on the a la carte menu that you offer at the Burleigh Arms.
So you had 2 snacks to start off with, so a suckling pig taco, salsa match and avocado, and then you had a langoustine crostade, a finger lime, Thai coconut and spuma and petroleum caviar. Then you had a bread course with Guinness and Genesis bread, so our local stout we use from Wells & Co, and that was there with a French salted butter and a Guinness and onion butter as well.
Of the 2 little mini starters, there was the langoustine. I mean, that had an amazing flavour. Then we moved on, didn't we?
And then your first full course was the hand-dyed Orkney scallop, which we marinated in yuzu and wasabi dressing. And then that finished with nashi pear and then jalapeno granita tableside. So granita is like frozen ice. And that's sort of like, because we get fresh live scallops in every day, the sweetness of the scallop counteracts really well with the spiciness of the jalapeno, so that's one of my favourite dishes on the menu.
That was really zingy.
Yeah, so there's lots of we blend it with like cucumber skins and like lime juice, so it's like really fresh, but it's and again it's kind of like the sweet and sour effect of spicy jalapenos with fresh lime and fresh yuzu.
What is a nashi pear?
It's a large Asian pear. So it's super like crunchy, but also really sweet.
We then moved on to fish.
Yeah, so our fish, we do a line caught wild bass from Cornwall, Cornish crabs. So we made like a little dumpling with daikon radish out of the white crab meat. And then all of our crabs come in live every couple of days. We break them down and we turn the shells into like a kaffir lime and lemongrass sauce using the shells. And then all the white meat inside we use to turn into the dumpling. And then that's to serve with a little basil emulsion, and there's a super rich aromatic sauce to finish. So quite a simple dish, but all about flavour and produce. It's a simple dish, but it's just flavours that you know work. It's just using the best produce, and you don't really have to mess around with the produce too much when you get a good product, which is quite nice.
And then we moved on to a lamb cutlet.
Yeah, so the lamb we get in a whole rack, and then we get an 8-bone rack, but then treat it as like a 3-bone rack, but take the middle bone out. So like the cutlet is much bigger than what you'd get if it's one individual cutlet per portion. And then we would barbecue that fully on the Conroe. So we use Aubrey Allen butchers from Coventry. So they have like a Himalayan salt age chamber, which we salt age all of our beef, steaks we have on the blackboard menu, the lamb that we used last night. And that's just simply served with a courgette and mint puree, and then a nice lamb sauce made with all the lamb bones, just finished with like a mint vinegar, and then just a little cannelloni of like courgette and mint with like lots of aged parmesan for that as well.
That was absolutely beautiful. And again, I love lamb when it's just so juicy, and this really was. It was perfect. And when you have this on your main course, you also do a lovely shepherd's pie with it. Is that right?
Yeah, so dishes that people understand what it is, and we are a pub, so doing 2-part dishes with a little shepherd's pie on the side. So we get lamb shanks in. You know, we could use lamb mince or something a little bit cheaper, but we use lamb shanks to make a proper shepherd's pie, and then we make an aerated roast garlic potato foam rather than just buttery mash. A bit more refined, a bit more lighter than a full-on shepherd's pie.
This is what's going to attract me to coming back here, the fact that your food has got something else. It's really unusual, but yet, as you say, it's a little bit of familiarity. We then went on to 2 beautiful desserts.
So the first one is a Pariani hazelnut and frangelica bavarois. This recipe I've been using for the last 5 or 6 years now. I've developed it over time and tweaked it and adjusted it. And Pariani, they're like the hazelnuts from Italy and Sicily, so the most expensive hazelnuts in the world. They're like 6 times the price of like a normal bag of hazelnuts. We just infuse that in milk and cream for a bavarois base. And then we add Tahitian vanilla into the whole mix, and then we make a really boozy espresso martini and a 35% Azealia Farina chocolate crema. Just sort of like chocolate, coffee, hazelnut, and a little bit of alcohol. I won the Chef of the Year dessert using the same dessert recipe, and I just sort of adjusted it. The dessert's been on the menu for a little bit of a while, but just tweaked and adjusted everywhere I've worked previously.
And it looked absolutely beautiful. I mean, it almost looked like a sort of ballet dancer with this sort of frilled ruff on the top. And what was that part on the top? That was the chocolate part, the Verona chocolate.
Yeah, so it's crispy chocolate. So we basically make a chocolate mix, set it into a caramel which sets like a brick, and then we blend it into a powder, and then remelt it back into the oven, and then we press it into like a star sort of shaped mould, and then we just sprinkle that with like gold dust on top to sort of bouge up a little bit. So that's like the ideal way to finish a meal in my opinion. So it's a Kent mango, so one of the best mangoes in the world you can get from Asia, a mango and yuzu tartlet. So we make a little yuzu curd out of that, and then make a Brie Savarin mousse, which is a cream cheese from Normandy, and then we literally do a fresh Kent mango salsa, and then a really, really nice like aromatic coconut ice cream, which we use a coconut liqueur called Batida, which is like a Brazilian coconut liqueur, and it's just the whole thing, just like it's such a light, refreshing way to finish.
Cambridge has won itself a rather exciting new head chef. I would very much recommend people to come along to the Burleigh Arms to sample what you have. So just tell me a bit more about what's on your a la carte menus. The dishes that we've talked about you have on there regularly, but what are your other favourites?
Yeah, so at the Burleigh Arms we do a small refined a la carte menu. So we do half a la carte dishes, half dishes that people understand. So for example, our staple will be our Burleigh Arms pork pie. That's something you can have as a starter. You can have in the bar. If you want to come for just a pint and a snack, you can have a pork pie. But I try to make things that people understand and people know what things are, i.e. like pork pie, shepherd's pie. Then on the side of that, we just do daily blackboard options, like our burger, which we do our own homemade burger buns for. And as I said, if we want to put burger on the menu, let's do it properly and let's have our own meat. We do also sharing steaks and individual steaks as well. So that's something where we use Cam Cattle in Cambridge, where she kills 1 cow at a time. So she might say to us, okay, I can get 4 ribeye today, 2 sirloins today, 1 flat iron today. So it's sort of once they're gone, rather than us having loads of stock in house and not selling them as such. They're more like a specials board. Get them while you can, first come, first serve, which is quite nice, alongside our a la carte menu.
And in terms of local hoof print, as it were, you can't get much closer than almost being able to see the cows on the meadows.
Yeah, so even before I started here, she came over from Cam Cattle and said, look, we are literally 400 yards. It's quite a nice little story, and her beef's all grass-fed and it's really, really delicious. So it's the ideal supplier to use. So we are using local suppliers, but we are also using other suppliers who aren't local, who are, specialising in certain aspects as well, which is quite important. So the things like the Burleigh Arms is all about produce now.
You do a Sunday roast type of thing as well?
Yeah, so we're quite massive on Sunday roast, to be honest. So we offer a pork belly dish, a pork belly roast, a beef roast, where we do like beef fat carrots, honey glazed parsnips, lots of Yorkshire puddings, beef gravy, and then we also do like a malt black treacle and beer glazed chicken to share. So if you want to come in for a whole chicken to share, you can. If you want to come in for beef or pork, you can. Also, we also do like a vegan nut Wellington. So even if you're vegetarian or vegan, we make our own onion gravy for that, and we do our own vegetarian nut Wellington. Sunday is more about sort of family feasting, a bit more heartier, bigger portions. I like family style where all of the bowls, all the vegetables are in separate bowls, and it's like help yourselves. And for that, we offer like little upgrades of like Yorkshire pudding. So we do like an ox cheek filled Yorkshire pudding. We do cauliflower cheese on the side with black garlic and crispy onions, and anything that you want to build onto your meal. And it's quite nice because you just have quite an empty plate where you can just build on top of that as when you're at home, family feast.
You've really only been here 2 weeks, so that's not long in sort of getting to know Cambridge and the type of people who like to eat out in Cambridge. What are your sort of Cambridge impressions so far? Obviously, as you said, you were chefing at Midsummer House.
Yeah, it's obviously very nice to be back in Cambridge. There's some very, very nice restaurants, including the Burleigh Arms. It'd be very nice to just getting the word out for us now, because the food style, what we're offering now, is complete opposite to what it was previously. So it's just showing, in my opinion, when you walk into the Burleigh, it's a very homely, hearty, warming pub. So offering things like the burgers and also the steaks is quite a nice option. But if you want to also come for a more refined evening where others might go to Midsummer House or Restaurant 22 or Margaret's, where we are hoping to be on that level as a similar style of food, the different offering as well, which is quite nice.
And I would agree with that, because we're sitting in the dining room at the moment, and it's a really rather elegant dining room. It's sort of black with gold elements and lots of pictures. I love the fact that you have taken inspiration from others, yet you're really putting your own twist on it.
I appreciate it'd be a slow burner to start with, because we are sort of relaunching a whole new style of food, and not everyone will know what food we're offering now. So just trying to get the word out of, if you want to come for a nice a la carte menu, you can. And if you want to come for a steak or a burger, you can. So yeah, we'll stick to a smallish refined menu for now, but then we'll just change it season to season. I'll develop dishes and tweak dishes as and when, and then once we're happy with the new dish, we'll just chop and change dishes just to freshen up ideas. And then Sunday will be a weekly menu. So we'll keep the staples of beef, pork and chicken. We might change the beef depending on what we can get hold of. We might change the pork. But then the desserts will be a bit more simple on a Sunday. A bit more cheaper, a bit more simpler, but more heartier, homely pub food. Like, if we were making a sticky toffee pudding, for example, let's make it the best sticky toffee we can make it. And that's sort of the concept, really. Like, sticking to things that people understand and know what it is, but just using the best ingredients for that dish.
Well, I would certainly urge people to come along, because it's so nice to have something that's a little bit different and that's new in Cambridge. For example, if I was a vegetarian, even if I'm not vegetarian, there's this most amazing Baron Bigod and black truffle pitive with truffle sauce. I mean, sorry, I love truffles, so that will definitely turn me vegetarian.
Yeah. That's basically like a posh pie. So we make a potato, cheese and truffle pie. And it's super rich. And a lot of meat eaters and fish eaters that's actually one of our popular dishes, believe it or not. So that's something where vegetarian food needs to be just as important, just as nice as a protein or a bit of fit. That doesn't matter, we still treat it the same. We make the pie using, basically make a dough from a potato, fill it with a truffle cheese sauce, add Baron Bigod too. That's when you cut into the middle of the pie, it all leaks out and it's like oozy cheese. And just simply truffle sauce and caramelised onions. So
you're making my mouth water already. Thank you so much. And do we have to make a reservation? I would imagine certainly on a Sunday. What would you recommend?
Of course, we always recommend booking a reservation or booking in advance. However, we do take walk-ins. I know throughout May we're offering 20% off as well. So because it's obviously my first 4 month being here, the owner Tom is offering 20% off. For the first month, just to sort of get the word out and get people in, so get people trying it while they can.
It's Burleigh Arms and the new head chef, Sam Sturman, I would certainly highly recommend it, and you will be seeing us again. Thank you so much, Sam.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, I was so impressed by the quality of the food. Absolutely brilliant. I definitely will be going back.
Right.
Not just a promise.
But his ambition is to have a Michelin star restaurant.
I think he will, because, you know, if he's worked in them, he knows what the standard is, and certainly the quality of his food.
And he's got the talent to do it.
Oh, he has the talent. He has the commitment and passion.
Oh, well, and he's getting good ingredients by the sound of it as well.
Oh, yes.
I'm free. I'm free.
Now details of free food available in and around Cambridge, and the information about what's available and where to get it comes from the Olio app, which exists so that people's or businesses' surplus food doesn't go to waste.
That's right, and today's look at Olio for Cambridge shows us that Nina on Rustat Road is giving away 3 packs of mini carrots, unless of course you're really small, so that just makes them carrots, as well as some bread rolls and a white loaf too. Dee in King's Hedges is offering a 5-pack of bagels, 2 packs of Chinese-style pancakes, and there's 10 pancakes per pack there, and a pack of frozen white bait as well. And finally, Gemma in Trumpington has a pack of coconut ring biscuits and a jar of seafood sauce available. So that's going to make for a really interesting flavour combination, isn't it? That's all, actually, for our quick look at free food on the Olio app today.
And the other free app, called Too Good To Go, which food retailers use to sell, often at less than half price, any surplus food they have at the end of their day's trading. All sorts of companies use it, from small independents to big supermarkets, and that's to reduce food waste.
So, on to our first news break now for the 16th of May 2026. Steve Thompson, a.k.a. The Foraging Chef, is opening his own restaurant. Steve told me for Flavour things are moving well. Currently it's a bit of a building site, but we'll be releasing all the details on it in a week or so. We're just sorting out the booking systems and making sure we know an opening date that is realistic before we do that. And we're opening somewhere in Saffron Walden, and details will be announced very soon.
And on the subject of new businesses, the British Library in London's Euston Road is running a day-long course called How to Start and Run a Successful Restaurant, Coffee Bar or Food Business. The next course is on the 26th of June, and there will be a repeat on the 17th of July, and plenty more in the autumn. Also, the British Library's food season returns on the 13th of June, with a big weekend of many, many talks and discussions.
A film about Flourish in Hildesham is to have a private showing at the Saffron Screen in Saffron Walden on the 27th of May. The film traces a year at the Flourish farm and is followed by a Q&A with founder Calixte Kilander and the film's director Chris Baker. Tickets are free and they can be obtained by sending a direct message to _Christopher Baker via Instagram.
Ollie Sheriff has a vegan summer feast on the 29th of May at the Black Cat Cafe in Mill Road. There will be 3 courses and you can book your place via the link in his Instagram bio, which is Ollie spelled O-L-I, Sheaf spelled S-H-E-F-F, or one word Ollie Chef, so via a link in his Instagram bio.
From the 1st of June, Finn Boys at number 2 Mill Road is introducing a set lunch menu. That's £40 for 3 courses on Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays, and a la carte on Saturday. On the 3rd of June at Finn Boys, there will be a Wild West dinner featuring coastal wines and matched fish dishes. And Finn Boys is open on Sundays too, starting on the 7th of June with a menu that includes fish dishes and a meat dish, roast sirloin of longhorn beef with Yorkshire pudding, roast potatoes and various vegetables.
On the 4th of June at the Stove Cafe in Bourne, there will be a French wine and English cheese tasting.
And on the 5th June at Market House in Cambridge's Market Square, there is an Alsace wine dinner, at which the 5-course dinner will be accompanied by 6 wines, both the food and the wines celebrating the Alsace region's produce. The evening will be hosted by Hal Wilson of Cambridge Wine Merchants and Bill Brogan of Market House.
Danny Esquerdo has a ceviche masterclass on the 6th and 27th of June and a 3-course Latin American supper club on the 11th of July. The supper club is for 8 people and it's going to sell out quickly.
Market news now. Bar Hill Market is on the 23rd of May. The Grandsons Market is on the 31st of May. Also on the 31st of May, Haslingfield Market. Orwell Pannier Market, which is the oldest monthly market in South Cambridgeshire, is on the 6th of June, as is Linton Market. And the next Chieveley Farmers Market is on the 21st of June. And, of course, Cambridge Market is there every day.
Well, congratulations to the old bicycle shop in Regent Street, which has been awarded the top 3-star rating in the 2026 Food Made Good Awards from the Sustainable Restaurant Association. To Restaurant 22 for being included in the National Restaurant Awards Top 100. And finally, Granchester's Rupert Brook has received 2 AA rosettes. So, congratulations to all. It's wonderful to see our local restaurants getting national recognition. And that's the news for now. More later.
Following on from that last news item, Sue spoke with Pasky from the Rupert Brook about the 2 AA Rosette Award and what it means.
I'm in the Rupert Brook in Granchester. Sitting in front of me is Pasky Benedetto. And you've got some rather good news. And this is really lovely news for anyone who's in the hospitality trade. This is something that you've had really quite recently, within the last month, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. We had a visit about a month ago. What made it lovely is that we got awarded 2 rosettes. I think we were capable of getting a rosette, but when she announced and finished her meal and presented herself after the meal and announced that we had 2 rosettes, that was a lovely surprise.
So what does 2 rosettes actually mean? What sort of standard or criterion do they use to judge?
To get from 1 to 2 is more based on the dishes, is more based on the food, what you're offering, and it's about the produce, fresh produce, the quality of cooking and the design of the dishes. She has, the lady who visited on this occasion, had 3 courses, and she rates each course. And all 3 courses tick the boxes for 2 rosettes. So it's purely based on the technical ability of the staff cooking to get from 1 to 2.
So it's food related rather than ambience or service, is that right?
More so to get from 2 to 1, absolutely right. It's you have to tick the number of boxes to get 1 rosette, and then to get 2, as I said, is more about the quality and the technicality of the dishes you are producing.
And so do you have to apply for these, or is it just something that occurs?
With the AA guide, you apply. When you apply, you are told you will get a visit between 6 to 10 weeks of applying. The difference with this was when she visited, it had only been 3 weeks since we applied. So we weren't expecting a visit as of then. We applied middle of February, late February, had the visit on the 30th of March, something like that. So when we got the details saying that we were to expect a visit, it was early March. And she visited on the 30th, so it had literally been 3 weeks. So that was a surprise because we hadn't got to that window of 6 to 10 weeks, which I brought up with her when she visited. And she said that, well, basically she wanted to get us. She'd already heard of us. She's Norwich-based, and she'd heard about myself, the cooking, the chef being with me for a period of time, and looks at openings and things like that. So we were on her radar. And when we applied, it was something she wanted to do quite quickly, which was nice. So, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your chef, and also what's your sort of current food offering?
Same chef as I've had, been with me on and off to the other sites, but Matt King's been with me for April is 8 years, so it's just turned 8 years he's been with me. There's the second chef, Bartek's been with me for coming up for 4 years. And that's another thing that is what judges you from 1 star to 2 star. It's the technicality, but very much so the consistency of the cooking and the dishes you are served. So that was very pleasing when we went for everything and on that visit. But it helps having a team which are with you, the same word, consistency, that the dishes you are being served and you're serving your customers, they have an expectation and it can be met quite easily if you've got a team and they understand the cooking, which is why the menu now, the guys who are developing the menu, we've got a summer menu being finalised in the next week. Some mainstays there but we'll have a chowder coming back on. We've got our steak frites going back on. We've tried a few things. The scallops are always going to stay. The dish that the lady from the AA guide, she had the scallops, so they're staying. So our offering that we've created over the last 21 months is going to have that level of consistency. And the menu is going to be consistent in the sort of things that we offer.
Also, you do this bottomless brunch thing on a Saturday. Tell me a little bit more about that.
We started the bottomless brunch when we took over in August 24. We did one before the Christmas of 24. We did 3 last year. We've got 7 this year. So we do one a month or one every other month. And the next one is in May. They are quite booked up. So we do them. It's from 1:30 till 5:30. You get a 3-course meal and bottomless on drinks for the first 2 hours. So from 1:30 till 3:30, but during the whole course of your visit, we do it upstairs in the Rupert room because it doesn't interfere with our normal service downstairs. There's bottomless for 2 hours, but we have a DJ present for the whole 4 hours from 1:30 till 5:30. So yeah, they have been very, very well received. We've got 7 this year, pretty much all booked out.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, obviously the fame of these has spread.
Yeah, it's been very well received, the bottomless brunch, and I think same as we are getting a good following, and for us here, Christmas is becoming very important. We had a great season. We've already got 1,000 people booked for this December. So with what's going on in the world with hospitality, there's definitely those that have it a little bit harder. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. Everybody's doing their bit to try and get through, but we are doing up. The rosettes definitely help. Having a successful Christmas season under your belt definitely helps as well.
Yeah, well, that's very impressive. And there's a news update on this, Sue, isn't there?
Well, yes, indeed. And after 12 fantastic years at the Blue Ball in Grantchester, the landlords Toby and Angela are retiring, and Paskey from the Rupert Brook will be opening up there next week. So come along to the Blue Ball this weekend to say farewell. And there'll be more news on Paskey and what's happening there in the next episode.
Grand. Well, coming up on Flavour, the wine club at Dovecote Cellar, Paulina's Chilean bakery, more food news, wine tastings, a social media update, and our jobs section. That's all after the break in a couple of minutes. Don't go away.
Cambridge Radio.
Calling all vinyl lovers, the Cambridge Record Fair's coming to the tram depot this Sunday, 17th of May. Browse through crates packed with classic albums, rare finds and hidden gems at this special event to raise funds for Strawberry Fair and Cambridge Radio. Early entry from 10:30's £4 and then just £2 entry from 11 a.m. Whether you're into indie, soul, jazz, punk, dance or rock, there'll be something waiting for your turntable. The Cambridge Record Fair, Sunday, 17th of May, 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the Tram Depot, East Road in Cambridge.
If you're over 60, now's the time for luxury retirement at Rangefords Strawberry Fields in Stapleford. Make friends in their vibrant community. There's a restaurant and bar with a gym, swimming pool and full clubhouse facilities. Worry-free retirement at Strawberry Fields in Stapleford. Take a tour of their show apartments and make it your place to call home.
Rangefordvillages.co.uk. Exclusively for over 60s.
Cambridge Radio.
Welcome back to Flavour, and we kick off with more news, beginning with the Cambridge Beer Festival. It runs from the 18th to the 23rd of May on Jesus Green. There will be lots of beers, far too many to mention, ciders, perries, apple juice, mead, and a wide selection of English wines.
And there'll be lots of food provided by Scooby-Doo Ice Cream, Churros Bars, Gorilla Kitchen, Café Mollet, Let's Grow Street Food, Pimp My Fish, Curry and Kebab, Fired Up Pizza, Vegetaria and Azaha. And the lunchtimes are there from Tuesdays to Friday, which are free entry, and the evening sessions range from £5 to £6 according to the day, and on Saturday it's £4 all day.
As is usual, the Maypole in Portugal Place will have its own beer festival from the 18th to the 23rd of May, celebrating Belgian beers.
Also to do with beer, and also on the 18th of May, there is the first of 4 Pint of Science events, which continue on Tuesday the 19th and Wednesday the 20th. The Monday event, which is at the Cambridge Brewhouse in King Street, is called All Molecules Great and Small, Life at the Molecular Level. Tuesday is at the Sir Isaac Newton in Castle Street and is called What Our Stuff Is Made Of and Why It Matters. On Wednesday, Hidden Histories, Unseen Heroes, Through Time and Science, is at the Tivoli in Chesterton Road. And also on Wednesday, back at the Cambridge Brewhouse, The Biological Blueprint, Reverse Engineering, Engineering, Life and the Rise of Genetic Enhancement. You can find out more from the website pintofscience.co.uk, where you can book tickets of £5.
There's an opportunity on the 19th of May to visit Tom Pearson's farm in Caxton, where you'll find out about his regenerative farming, agroforestry and composting, as well as his research and trials. Tom is a regenerative arable farmer with a background as a medical doctor and public health specialist. The event also includes a visit to Sweet Pea Market Gardens, and included in the £12 price there's a supper that showcases local produce. It runs from 4:30 to 8:30 on the 19th of May at Pastures Farm in Caxton. So to book this, contact east@cla.org.uk or phone 01638 590 429. And to repeat, that's 01638 590 429 or contact east@cla.org.uk.
And Adrian Gordon of Sweet Pea Market Garden in Caxton has a microgreens and sprouts workshop. That's on the 23rd of May. There's a plant sale and an open day on the 25th of May and a community work day on the 30th.
There are sundowner sessions at Saffron Grange Vineyard every Friday evening now up until the 28th of August. And this year's sundowner sessions at the Gog Farm Shop have been announced. They'll be on the 5th of June and the 30th of June. And these sessions are for over 18s only at the Gog, but some family-friendly events in the summer are planned.
On the 7th of June, Frank's Farm in Ellsworth has an open farm Sunday. It's free to enter, and there'll be a nature trail, craft activities, planting and growing demonstrations, tractor rides and a vintage tractor display. It's open from 10 till 4. And that's the news. We'll have the wine tasting news later.
Now, one of my favourite things on Flavour is when one story leads naturally onto another story. So when I was recording with the shopkeeper's daughter, that's a cafe in the centre of town, they kept saying to me, "Oh, you got to meet Paulina. She's great. She makes great things." Well, this next feature is about Paulina and Paulina's Chilean bakery.
Chile! Viva Chile, po!
So Chilean bakery. I would imagine that lots of people don't really know, well, what's the difference between Chilean baked goods and UK baked goods?
For example, the cakes, they are a bit more drier here compared to the Chileans one. Chileans, we are #1 fan of the bread. I think that we are one of the top countries in the world that consume bread. For us, the bread is like everything. We have one bread that is called marraqueta, similar to the baguette, but it's not the same. Okay. But we have another one that is called dobladitas, because doblar means fold. And this bread is literally like a disc that you fold twice. Then when you see it, it's like a quarter of a circle. Mm-hmm. It's not soft, it's not airy, it's not crispy, because it has a lot of fat in it. It's amazing. Usually when you're cooking, if you bake this one at home, you put a slice of cheese and ham in the middle, nice. And you put that one in the oven, cook together. So when get out of the oven, it's the melting cheese, and oh God, it's amazing. You're making me feel hungry now. The three more common bread that you go to any shop in Chile is marraquetas, ayuyas, and dobladitas. And the three of them, you can find it in my shop. Those bread in Chile are just plain, because what is important on the bread is what you put on top of the bread. Okay, so you have two types of things that you can put. You can put savory things like the ham and the cheese. The butter needs to be there, of course. Mm-hmm. But the most important is the avocado. Smash avocado just with salt. Yeah. That's a delicatesse. And then you have the sweet things. So for sweet, could be the manjar. That is one of the core of all our sweet things. Manjar is mostly in everything that we prepare. Manjar is in it. Actually, today I was looking on a newspaper in Chile that 7 out of 10 Chileans use manjar as a daily food. Cool. So we eat it a lot. Yeah.
Manjar. Now there's a word you're going to hear a lot in this feature. If I was to give a 2-word description of manjar, caramel Nutella?
Oh, no.
No, not at all?
No, I mean, this is a kind of milky caramel because you have milk and sugar and you cook it really slow until you get a goldy color and it's really thick.
I looked up a very brief description of how to make your own manjar. Let's just see if you agree with this.
Okay.
You take a can of sweetened condensed milk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't open the can. You leave it as it is, but you place the entire can in a pot of water so that it's completely covered. And then you boil that can for about 2.5 hours. Oh, and also make sure that the whole time you keep adding more water so the water doesn't evaporate, because otherwise this will blow up. The milk cooks inside and it expands. Then you cool the can in a fridge overnight, open it up, and you have manjar.
Yeah, old people, like my grandma, for example, she used to prepare it on the pan. She just put the milk and the sugar and all the time like mixing and mixing and mixing until you get it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. For most Chileans, too sweet is not a real thing. Most Chilean desserts are on the extreme side of the sugar scale. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
So you've brought some of your goods with you from Paulina's Chilean bakery.
Yes.
I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of, I was going to say cake, but cake is the wrong word.
Usually I call them treats.
Treats,
yes.
That's better. And I can tell straight away that some of these contain manjar.
Yes, actually all of them.
All of them?
Yes. I told you manjar is the core of our baking.
So this one that I'm pointing to is called
cachito,
which I would describe as like a sea urchin sort of thing with the manjar inside.
Yes.
I've not tasted anything similar in any kind of UK confection. They would sell like hotcakes. Why is this a popular thing in Chile and not popular here?
It's because, for example, why I started Paulina Chilean Bakery. It was difficult, as you say, to find Chilean food here. It's like really rare. And a few that you can find is just located in London. But you know, go to London every time that you have a craving is a bit expensive. And I'm good baking. That has been my passion all the time. As a profession, I'm a scientist. That's why I arrived here to work in the University of Cambridge as a researcher. But when I was doing that and missing the flavor of home, I just started baking. I just changed one apron for another apron, like the blue apron for a baking apron, you know? But I'm so happy doing this. It's not that I wasn't happy before in science. It's just a different me, you know? I love this version of me.
Yeah.
2 things made me happy. Once, I bring to the UK a little piece of Chile, and every Chilean or Latin America that is here and try my treats or my cakes, they go back to me and they say, oh my God, when I was eating them, I was back in Chile. That's what I wanted more. And the other is just the face that you put when you were trying the cachito. You know, when I'm on markets, sometimes people is like, they haven't seen them before, so they have no... Some people even ask me, are they spicy? Because it's Chilean, you know, so they associate Chilean with a Chile, you know? And it's, no, they are sweet, no spicy at all there. And usually when they try them, the face just changed. I want 10 of them. So, as you said, it's difficult to find them here. I'm so happy that British people, every time that they try them, they love them.
Do you think, therefore, that you have a lot in common with the British sweet tooth?
I do love, for example, the sticky taffy pudding.
With custard?
Yeah, I love custard.
Yeah.
I love custard cream. Love it. We have something similar that we call it crema pastelera. Custard here is kind of liquid. We have the same version, but could be really sticky. Cakes here are really dry. For example, the Victoria sponge. But the Chilean version of that could be a really moist sponge with the same use of the strawberry. And then you put in the middle the jam and the cream. That could be a really big difference between both of them.
Your version of Victoria sponge cake, if you were to make it, would have the moistness of a good carrot cake.
Something like that. Actually, I do love carrot cake. And maybe it's for that reason, because it's more moist than the normal other cakes that you can find here. At the bakery, I focus in 2 things. One is the sweet, or the treats that are mainly produced with manjar.
Yeah.
Like the one that you try, alfajores, the maicena. alfajores de chocolate, cachitos, hojarasca bites, that is a kind of lightly flaky layers, really thin pastry, and in the middle you have manjar. And then you have merenguitos, that people love merenguito because they know when they see them, oh, that's meringue. And what is in the middle? It's manjar, of course, it's manjar. And then in the other half, you have the breads, mainly is marraquetas, ayuyas, and dobladitas.
If someone's talking about bread on the radio, I think of loaves of bread. And these are not loaves of bread.
No. Each bread that we have in Chile is individual. One portion. For example, the dobladitas is really fatty bread, so it's like a disc that you fold twice, so that's why it's called dobladita, because you are folding it, your bread is doblad. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then you have the ayuyas, that is a really soft bread. It's never going to be bigger than 15 centimeter, maybe. It's like round, and when you're baking this one, you fold the dough only once, and then you bake them. So when you want to open them, you just put your finger and pop. It's still like soft inside, but it's easy to split it. And then you have the marraquetas, and this one is similar to the baguette. It's something so classic in Chile that at 5 p.m. every corner shop has the fresh bread coming out. So you smell that, and it's so warm, and you just open it and get the inside, and you just eat it like that. And then the outside that is really crunchy, but not so hard as the baguette, but it's crunchy. For me, food is like smells and music. Sometimes you try a cake, you try a bread, and you just remember, oh, I was eating this one with, I don't know, my dad. It's like connect you with memories. When people go back to me and say, oh my God, I was just for a few minutes, I was back to Chile. And some people say, I haven't been there for 10 years, 20 years. I don't know, I cannot describe it, But receiving those messages from them made me so happy. Everything started for that, because I was missing the Chilean food, because seeing people, how happy I could make in just baking, it's incredible.
Lovely. Well, Paulina, thank you so much for coming into the studio and having a chat with us about your Paulina's Chilean Bakery.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
And you're listening to Flavour on Cambridge Radio. Yeah, that was Paulina's Chilean Bakery, and Paulina is online at paulinasbakery.co.uk, which also links through to her Instagram account. And if you're listening to us live on Saturday, she's currently running a stall at the craft fair in All Saints Garden, opposite Trinity and St John's, where she'll be selling her breads and her treats with that wonderful sweet manjar. You've got to try it. And Paulina has brought in some treats for Alan and Sue to try. So you've been trying them whilst we've been listening to that. What did you think, Alan?
We have indeed.
We've been loving them.
Really delicious. I love the manjar. It's really, really balances beautifully with the sponge or the pastry.
Yeah, I think they're really nice. And I don't know, they're not too sweet. I think they're just absolutely superb, actually. I really recommend them.
Yes, well, there's not much left on the plate.
No, there'll be even less when we shut up.
How would you describe the manjar flavour?
Caramelly, not overly sweet, just real nice, lovely texture as well. Very nice texture.
And what are they made of? What's the milk that's in them?
Evaporated milk.
Oh, right.
Evaporated milk boiled.
Yeah. So they did remind me slightly of a kulfi Indian ice cream. That's the flavour of the evaporated milk. Nothing like as sweet as a kulfi Indian ice cream.
No, this wasn't too sweet. It was just right.
Yeah, they're very good, and I think people should follow Paulina on Instagram to find out where she's selling them from.
Excellent.
And that's Supercharged, taking us into our wine tasting news. And there is a tasting of Welsh wines at Grape Britannia in Chesterton Road on the 27th of May, and that's part of Welsh Wine Week. And on the 10th of June, at the same venue, there is a cocktail evening with 5 cocktails to sample.
Gutter and Stars in French's Road has a tasting on the 21st of May, featuring 5 wines from their range, including the newly released Chardonnay 2023 and Avalon 2023, and the first of the new 2025 bottlings. And that's repeated again on the 11th and the 25th of June.
Cambridge Cookery and Wine School in Purbeck Road is running the Level 1 WSET course in the evenings of the 1st, 8th and 15th of June for the first time, and it has a beginner's wine evening on the 2nd of June. There's a tasting of Alsace wines, featuring wines made from Riesling, Pinot Gris and Gewürztraminer. It runs from 7 till 9 p.m.
Cambridge Wine Merchants has a tasting of wines from the Flint Vineyard on the 6th of June at their Cherry Hinton Road branch, and also on the 19th of June another in the series, The Beginner's Guide to Wine, and this one will focus on the wines of New Zealand. Now these sessions do sell out, so book soon if you're interested.
Looking ahead, Steve Hovington of the Cambridge Wine Academy is hosting a tour of Germany, Austria and Central Europe on 1st July in the Cherry Hinton Road branch of Cambridge Wine Merchants, and on the 17th of July, the Beginner's Guide to Wine has a tasting of the wines of Germany.
The Wine Rooms in Hills Road has a tasting of South African wines on the 11th of June, also presented by Steve Hovington.
There's a wine tasting at the White Hart in Fulbourn with Mark Anstead of Cambridge Wine School, and that will have cheese and charcuterie boards as well, and it takes place on the 12th of June.
And continuing on the wine theme, I visited Matthew Juggins at Dovecot Wine Cellar in Burwash Manor Barton recently, and he told me about his wine club.
You're going to talk to me about your cellar club, so exactly what is this?
Well, it's my wine subscription service. It decided to call it Cellar Club to give it a slightly more fun name. That's what it boils down to. It's a subscription service in which, as with any standard wine subscription, you get a case regularly. So in this instance, I do a case of 6 wines every other month. So it doesn't sort of... I find that every month tends to inundate most people with slightly more wine than they can keep on top of. And obviously for some people, you know, that might not seem like very much, but you can supplement it, obviously, and I'll explain that in a moment. It's 6 bottles every other month, and what I think makes mine quite unique or gives me a point of difference is that it's not just me giving you a list of wines to drink and saying this is what you're having. It's much more collaborative than that. So basically the idea is that we're building up your ideal cellar, but you get to do it your way. So if you sign up, you'll see that there are 2 tiers of membership. At the Discover tier, it's £95. The Signature tier, it's £150. Bear in mind that that's every other month, not every month. What you then get is each cycle, I will put together a selection of wines. You can choose to have a red case or a white case or a mixed case, or you can put together your own case. That's the crucial point of difference here. So you can either go with the selection that I've curated, or if that doesn't look interesting, or you fancied something a bit different, you can effectively treat the membership fee as, if you like, credit, and you can put together a case from selecting from any other wines on my website instead for that one. And you get some perks as well.
Ah, and what are the perks?
Well, number 1 perk is that as a member, you get a permanent discount in store. So that's how you can supplement the wines if you feel like you need a little bit more. So you get 15% off all in-store purchases as a Cellar Club member. You also get a little gift every Christmas from me, just to say, thank you for being a member of my little club. And if you upgrade to the Signature tier, you also get some sort of fine wine upgrades in the selections. So you get a slightly different selection to choose from. And you also get access to my one-to-one wine consultation sessions, 2 of those a year completely on the house as well. And when you join up, you also get a little A5 binder, little branded A5 binder, and this is where you can keep your tasting notes. So with every case, I'll send you full tasting notes for all the wines in there with little tasting sheets. And you can, and they're ready punched so that you can put them in your binder, and gradually this gives you, your list of wines that you've had, so you can look back on everything you've had, and we sort of build out your cellar together, and you can discover your new favourites and look back and go, oh yes, I really enjoyed that one, I might get that again.
So do you sort of theme them at all in, say, this bi-monthly is going to be French themed, and this one's going to be Spanish themed, or is it really as to what you feel is the the good wines at the moment? So how does it work from your perspective?
Yeah, it's not themed in terms of regions or anything, although I'm considering introducing something along those lines maybe at some point. But at the moment, it's not themed in that sense. Yeah, it's more of a discovery thing. So I'm putting together sort of an interesting selection of what I think are good wines and good value wines as well. So it's kind of about extending my ethos, basically, of being about great wines, great value, and maybe discovering some new things as well. What I always say about buying wine is that if you can have, there are three things when it comes to buying wine that I think we all look for, which are familiarity, quality, and affordability. Generally speaking, though, whenever you're buying any wine, you're probably only going to be getting two out of those three things. So which of those three things do you want to drop? Well, not quality, preferably not affordability. So for me, the obvious one of those three things that's droppable is familiarity, right? And that's where most of my selection sits, is in that happy place of having quality and affordability, but not necessarily the same level of familiarity, you know. So if you're getting, say, not that I want to denigrate supermarket wines, but as an example, if you're just popping out and grabbing a really cheap bottle of Malbec, that's familiarity, affordability, but you might be sacrificing quality there. If you're getting some really fine wine, some top Bordeaux or Burgundy or whatever, the quality is there, the familiarity is probably there, but then you're probably sacrificing affordability. So that's why I like to see that as the sweet spot. And I think Cellar Club is a bit of an extension of that ethos, really, more than anything else. It's about making wine accessible and simple and helping you branch out and find new stuff that you might not otherwise have tried.
Tell me a bit more about the more unusual wines that you would try and nudge people towards.
For example, right now I've got wines from Uruguay, Georgia, Slovenia as examples. But also I think even within more famous wine producing countries, you can still find these little bargains. So I have a few wines that represent what I like to call my wine hacks. So as a great example, one of my most popular wines downstairs is my Lirac, which is a lovely red wine. It's a Côte d'Aron, and it's a great alternative for people who want Châteauneuf du Pape in terms of style, without necessarily that prestige price tag. Lirac is right next door. The terroir and the climate, very, very, very similar. They tend to use the same sort of blend as well. It tends to be the classic Rhône GSM, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre blend. And so style-wise, you're getting something that's very similar, but whereas a Châteauneuf du Pape will be kind of starting at £50 or £60 probably and then going upwards, a good Lirac you can pick up for around about the £20 mark. Mine's £19 and it's lovely. And whisper it quietly, I think many Lirac wines are in some ways a bit more restrained and balanced than a lot of Châteauneuf du Pape these days. So that's I think a good example of where you can find that even within France.
I gather you're going to be starting up your lovely outside seating area, and you are going to do wines by the glass.
Yeah, I'll be starting Wine by the Glass again with an all-new, fresh menu, which I'm quite excited about, incorporating some new wines that have only just hit my shelves. So quite looking forward to that. It'll be a nice, balanced wine menu again, hopefully with a bit of something for everyone. And I've got a beer option as well, so everyone's catered for, hopefully. If you want to find out more about my Cellar Club, you can go to dovecotcellar.co.uk. That's DOVECOTECELLR, as in a wine cellar.co.uk.
The beers that Matthew sells include ones from Mark Watch's Moonshine Brewery, and that to me shows that his good taste isn't limited to wine.
And that is the music signalling time for news from social media. And a reminder that you can find Flavour on Instagram. We are at FlavourCam. And you can contact us by email if you like, flavour@cambridge.radio.
And a slightly embarrassing admission that Sue and I have been eating so many cakes, taking our eye off the social media updates. But we've got 3, I think. There's a blind indie whiskey flight at Thursday on the 9th of June. Oh, no, that's it. We have been inattentive. That's the social media news. Shall we have a look at the newspaper instead?
Yes.
Feast. We got today's feast here. Sue, is there anything that grabs you?
Well, I was looking at the risotto primavera, and I always love the whole idea of making the most of asparagus when it's in season and young broad beans, and that's, of course, by Felicity Cloak.
I find risotto a bit relentless, you know. I've never had a risotto that I've sustained my interest.
Really? Well, trouble is it has to be a very good risotto, and for me, preferably with a bit of shaved truffle on top. So that will definitely sustain my interest.
As we heard earlier, you're one for truffle.
Oh, yeah. I am indeed.
Actually, I mean, I don't want to denigrate, I wouldn't dream of denigrating Italian cuisine, but I find the same with pizza as well. Anyway, Matt's signalling to us to shut up, so let's go on to green onions.
Indeed, green onions, and our jobs section. So we begin with Midsummer House Restaurant, because they're looking for a chef de partie. Just send your CV to mshkitchen@midsummerhouse.co.uk.
Steve Thompson, the foraging chef, is looking for chefs for his new restaurant in Saffron Walden. How nice it is to announce this. The pay is competitive. There's a 4-day week, and the restaurant will be shut at Christmas. That's good news, isn't it? For more info, you can email info@theforagingchef.co.uk.
Cambridge Juice Company has a vacancy for a full-time driver, and details are on its website.
Liz Young of the Modern Chef needs a front-of-house crew, 2 people for a Cambridge event and 2 for an event in Steeple, Bumstead. Contact via an Instagram DM.
And finally, Mark Poynton at Caister Hall wants a chef Wednesdays to Saturdays. Just email your interest to byron@mjprestaurant.com.
Right, a quick reminder, we're here on alternate Saturdays at 12, repeated on Mondays at 2, and we're available as a podcast, or try the on-demand button on the Cambridge Radio website. But that's all from us today. 1 o'clock, Christine Schneider, 2 o'clock, Sue Marchant's selection. We'll be back on the 30th of May with lots more food and drink news, jobs and features. Until then, thanks for listening, and
goodbye.